Hey guys, Mike here. I promised to make this video quite a while ago, but I have not found the time to do so. And then I kind of decided that I was going to wait until I finished my training cycle to talk about it. And yeah, here we are. So right now I'm about 3 days out from competing at a strongman competition in Arlington, Texas. And then I am going to compete in the USAPL American Open powerlifting meet the following weekend. So it's going to be a fun couple of weeks. But yeah, it'll be tough, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, so I just wrapped up my last bit of training last night, and yeah, I'm going to discuss how I came back from my quadratus lumborum injury, glute injury all the way back in June, and then I'm going to talk about kind of how I had a little bit of a setback when I got a stress fracture in my right foot at the beginning of October. So to give you a little history, back in, it looks like, I got my training log here, in the middle of, actually on the 14th of June, I was deadlifting. I pulled 560 for a single, and then I was going to pull 610, and it just wasn't feeling. I barely broke it off the floor and just put it back down. So I dropped down to 545, and I pulled 2 doubles with straps because I was training with straps for North Texas Strongest Man at the time. So I dropped down to two doubles at 545, and if I remember correctly, and I remember fairly well, I had a lot of tightness in my back at the time. It wasn't necessarily only in my low back, it was kind of throughout my back. I had quite a bit of tightness. And I continued to push it. I actually hit a PR double front squat right after. I front squatted 435, which was a PR at that time. And then I did some farmers, and then I did some stone to shoulder kind of light. And that night, I just kind of remember having a lot of tightness in my back and just having a little bit of trouble getting around. I don't remember a ton of pain, it just being pretty tight. So fast forward a couple days, I did some squats on that Tuesday. I squatted up to 505 for 3, and it felt okay, so I wasn't too worried about it. And then I came in the following Saturday, and I was going to, and I did actually, pull a PR set of 5 rack pulls with 610. So I remember I think 560 was my last warm up, and I felt some tightness at the base of my back. What I found to be the attachment for the quadratus lumborum. They're kind of figuring out with my massage therapist. So yeah, I had a little tightness there, and then I decided to pull the set anyway, and I did. And I remember for one of the first times that's ever happened in training, my nose kind of exploded with blood on like the 3rd rep. I don't know if they necessarily had anything to do with one another, but kind of at that time I noticed, I was like, man, my back is really tight. And I continued to pull the set of 5. And I did, and you can actually find the video on my YouTube, and it doesn't look like anything happens. And then I let the bar down, and I took my belt off, and I said, yeah, I screwed something up. So I decided not to do my drop set. I started to warm up for front squats, and I could tell by the time I think I got to 135 that something was not okay. So I stopped, I went inside, and then that was Saturday afternoon, and until like Sunday night, I really couldn't do anything. My low back was so tight. So, and it was difficult to bend over. It was difficult to squat down. It sucked. So, the next day I felt a little better. I was able to do my my Monday bench session all right. Excuse me. Then I did some hang cleans Tuesday, and I decided to try to front squat afterwards, and I actually did. And I remember not feeling too bad. I had a little bit of pain in my QL and a little bit of pain in my glute, but it wasn't too bad. I decided back squatting was too painful, so I didn't do that. And I kind of progressed until Saturday. Saturday I went to do some axle deadlifts, which was in the competition. And yeah, I started and then I stopped because it was extremely painful. Just pulling it off the floor, pulling more than 225 hurt a lot. So I stopped. I did some front squats, I did some farmers, and I did some sled drags, and that was it. So over the next about month, up until the competition, I did some front squatting, and that really didn't cause me a whole lot of pain. I didn't back squat really at all. I think like a few days out, I hit 225 for 5, and it felt all right, but I didn't really do a whole lot of back squatting. And then I went to the competition on the 26th of July. And as soon as I did the tire, I had a 700 tire for 25 yards, and I ended up getting 23 yards because as I was going, I think I ended up doing a couple flips, and then I could feel my right glute was really tight. So I was like, oh, this kind of sucks. So I kept going. I ended up finishing the event. I mean, well, I finished in my time limit. I had one more flip to go, and I just stopped. I ran out of time. So, went into the farmers. I remember feeling some pain in the farmers. I kind of screwed up the farmers, which I should have done a lot better at because I was so concerned about my back and my glute that I really wasn't focusing on where my hand placement was. Messed that up. Continued on with the competition. I was just in general just really tight at that point. My back was tight, my glute was tight, my calves were tight, so everything was tight. It wasn't fun. Went to the deadlift medley. I think I pulled one of the implements. It was 135 or it was loaded like 165 or something. I was like, good, this hurts. So I decided not to do any of the deadlift implements except for the sandbag. I picked up the sandbag, called it good, walked off. Didn't even attempt the other implements because I didn't want to get hurt. And then I did the stone to shoulder, and it wasn't really that painful, so I just did a couple reps, and that was the end of the day. Didn't do too badly, considering I really didn't do the deadlift medley, and then my injury kind of inhibited everything else, so not too bad considering. Anyway, the next couple days I was in, I don't want to say agony, but I was in quite a bit of, I was really sore. My back was sore, my glute was really sore. My glute was just really tight in general. And actually, that is what kind of went on for about the next, at least all of August. I kind of wrote down in my training log how much pain I had. And then, yeah, I really didn't have, there really wasn't any pain until, it looks like, the 22nd of August was pretty minimal pain. But through then, from the competition until about then, I had quite a bit of pain. So what did I do? Well, I finished the competition. I took my normal few days off, and I started kind of light. The following Wednesday, I just did some hang cleans, some back squatted 275 for 3 sets of 5. I didn't write the pain down that day, but I guess it didn't hurt too badly because I didn't write it down. But I went in Saturday and I pulled. I was like, well, I'm going to see if I can deadlift. So I pulled 330 for 3 triples with almost no pain, and that was pretty awesome. I was like, all right. And then I pulled 410, and it hurt a lot. So I was like, okay. So I kind of know where I'm at. And then I back squatted 285 for 3 sets of 5. Both the deadlift's a little more than 50%, but below 60, and that squat was below 50%. So pretty light for there to be pain. So from then, what I decided I was going to do that Saturday is I'm like, all right, I'm going to deadlift and back squat both Tuesday and Saturday. I'm going to do 3 sets of 5 for the back squat. I'm going to do 5 triples for deadlift, and I'm going to progress 10 pounds each time. So I started I called it 275 my starting point because I did that on July 30th. And then from, I started my actual progression on the 6th of August. I started with a 295 back squat and for 3 sets of 5, and a 335 5 triples on the deadlift. And I just progressed that from August 6th until, I don't think I finished that progression until, there you go, deadlift, back squat, front squat. Looks like it really didn't start again until 395. Gosh, it took me forever to get back to 405. Okay, I finished my progression, it looks like, on the 12th of September. I squatted 405 for 3 sets of 5 with no pain, and then the next day I pulled 445 for 5 triples. And I was kind of splitting up the deadlift and the back squat on Friday and Saturday depending on how I felt and depending on what I had going on Saturday if I didn't want to do as much and wanted to do a little bit Friday night. So that was the end of my progression. It took me from basically the beginning of August until the middle of September. That's when for length I did the progression for. Sort of in a linear manner, adding about 10 pounds every time. So I did that. I kind of monitored my pain, how much pain I was having in both the glute and the QL. And I continued to do a significant amount. I did a lot of mobility work. I mean, I do a lot of mobility work anyway, but I did even more. I rolled out my glute and my QL with both the Mobility Wad Supernova, which you can find on Rogue, and my Rumble Roller. I did those a lot. I did a bunch of different mobs and from becoming a supple leopard. I just kind of found things that seemed to be helping it, and I just went from there. And one of the things that I think the reason people want to ask me about how I come back from injury is that what the worst part about it is that I was really strong when I got hurt, probably very, very nearly the strongest I had ever been. So it's pretty depressing. I mean, you're going really, things are going really well, and then all of a sudden they come to a grinding halt. So that was kind of difficult to deal with at first, and then I kind of put it in perspective, and I said, look, I can take this time, I can make sure my squat form is good, I can kind of retool my deadlift, which I did. I started pulling with a mixed grip again, alternate grip, whatever you want to call it. I started pulling like that again. I was able to get into a much better starting position. So those were some pluses, and it ended up, I don't think, if I had not gotten hurt, I don't think I would have changed my deadlift. So I don't want to say I'm glad I got hurt, but it ended up working out all right. Anyway, so I did that progression along with increased mobility work until probably about the middle of September, and then I decided at that point, I was like, all right, well, I'm feeling pretty good. I feel like I can get strong again pretty quickly, relatively quickly, a few months. So I said, all right, let's do a powerlifting meet in December, and I was going to do the Holiday Classic, which I like to do every year. In Carrollton, Texas, at Authentic Strength. Then I realized that the American Open was the same weekend in D.C. Why not do that? And I got a really good deal on plane tickets. I'm going to coach Brent on Saturday. It'll be good. So I decided I'm going to go to the American Open. So I started prepping for that. And then I started back squatting 455 for 3 on the 16th of September. And then 3 sets of 4 back off sets, and I continued that for a couple months till about the middle of November, towards the end of November actually. And yeah, I ended up squatting 550 for 3, which was a lifetime PR. And it actually felt pretty good. I felt like I was good for another one at least. So that was good. I mean, I hit a lifetime PR about 5 months after getting the worst injury that I've ever had training. So I was happy with that. And then my deadlift the following week, actually no, the same week, I pulled 600 for 3, which took me 4 years to break my PR of 585 for 2, and I did it with 600 for 3. And I'm going to pull 639 at this meet. I feel really good. My deadlift feels real strong, so that's good. Anyway, yeah, I had to be optimistic. I had to be realistic about what I was capable of. I kind of evaluated it day by day to see whether or not I was getting better. Some days I get real bummed out because I'd have a really good Tuesday training session, and then I'd come in Saturday and my glute would hurt again, or my QL would hurt. And then it would be like a week before I felt anything, and then suddenly, like on a Tuesday, wow, this is still giving me some trouble. So that kind of sucks. But yeah, there's a bunch of, Justin made some videos about strengthening your QL. He's got a good chalk talk on that, so take a look at that. And then take a look at becoming a supple leopard. There's a lot of good mobility work in there that can help you, help you with injuries in that area. More importantly, though, if you feel like if it's really bad, if it's debilitating, I would suggest going to a doctor and potentially getting an MRI, depending on what you think is going on. But go with the doctor's advice. Don't kill yourself. If you're young, you're going to be lifting for a long time, so hopefully. So it's not worth screwing yourself up and then being out of it for even longer. You got to take it slowly. So there was that, and I didn't mention until now that I also got a stress fracture in my right foot at the beginning of October. So I had about 2 pain-free weeks, and then all of a sudden I had this injury to my right foot. Well, what I noticed is that it was like the beginning, actually, let's see. So, actually, was it that weekend? No, it was whatever weekend I did the keg over bar. I think it was about 2 weeks after that, towards the end of September. Towards the end of September, I did some keg over bar. I carried the keg about 10 or 15 feet and then threw it over a 52-inch bar. And I felt fine. I did my 180 keg, 225, 265, just to kind of see what they were talking about for guys that were prepping for strongman nationals. So I did that, And then a couple days later, I kind of felt a little bit of pain in my left foot. I was like, man, it's probably just tendonitis. It'll be all right. And it actually didn't really hurt that much for about a week. And then I went in to do some hang cleans on a Wednesday at the base gym. And I had a lot of pain in my left foot. I was like, this is neat. And I went home that night, and my foot was kind of swollen. So I was like, oh, let's see what it looks like in the morning. I woke up in the morning. It was difficult to walk. I said, all right, I'm going to go to the doctor. Went to the doctor, got an x-ray on my foot. Figured they're like, oh, yeah, it's just tendonitis, nothing to worry about. Now, fourth metatarsal stress fracture. And although it was difficult to see on the x-ray, it was extremely painful. I actually walked with a cane for like almost a week, and then it slowly started to get better. I really just used Voltaren gel, which is a topical NSAID. I used that, and I iced it a lot. If you don't like ice, that's okay. I do. I iced it a lot, used the Voltaren gel. And that is about, it's almost fully healed. I'd say it's like, I don't know, 95%, 99% healed, somewhere in there. Because sometimes at the end of the day, if I've been on my feet a lot, I'll have a little bit of pain, but it's decreased significantly over the last few weeks. I actually ran out of Voltaren gel about a month ago when I got my second x-ray, which said that it had almost healed. It was healing properly. So what did I do for that? Well, that was kind of depressing because I'm sitting there in the doctor's office and I just gotten over this glute QL injury and I got another injury. So I kind of sat there and I said, well, what am I going to do? The next day I decided, okay, I'm going to squat and I'm going to see how it feels. And I ended up getting the Addy Powers in with, I think like that day, I got the Addy Powers in. And they were really tight and supportive. So when I would train, my foot didn't hurt. When I walked around throughout the day at work, it kind of hurt. So I was able to train fine. I kind of had to throttle back on my strongman movements, which, I was prepping for a strongman competition, which I still, I just finished up. So that kind of sucked. But I was able to do enough to where I'm still confident I can do very well on Saturday. So yeah, I was able to do some conditioning in different ways. I did some more stuff with kettlebells. I did some more stuff that just didn't bother my foot. I did whatever I could, really. And that's the bottom line. What you got to do with injury, you have to do what you can. You have to be realistic, and you have to remain optimistic. It's easier said than done, but now that I've done it, I feel like I can at least say it because, yeah, although, sometimes, when squatting 315, I was like, oh, this kind of hurts, and it's only 315. When I've squatted 600 before, I was kind of sad about that. But anyway, I got back from it. This is definitely the strongest I've ever been in my life. And this is about from June to December, not quite 6 months, just a little under 6 months. So it took me some time to get back from it, but I'm better for it. Gotten stronger. My deadlift and my squat are stronger than they ever have been. I squatted 585 last night, which is 1 pound more than I squatted at the meet last year, and it wasn't a max rep. I was just kind of working up to a plain second attempt, and it felt really good. I probably could have squatted like 605 or 610 last night, so pretty pleased with that. Anyway, I hope this answers, I think his name was Matt. I hope this answers Matt's questions about what to do when you get hurt. I don't know if he was specifically asking about a QL and glute injury, but again, if you have one and it's not improving and you're doing mobility work and it's affecting your quality of life, go to a doctor or go to a physical therapist. Go to someone that knows more than you do and get their opinion, because just kind of trying to get through it yourself can be pretty disheartening, especially if you're not making any progress. But yeah, hopefully this helps anyone that's kind of gotten hurt, or in the future, if they get hurt, they can come back and refer to this and go, huh, this is what Mike did, this worked for him. Go from there. So hopefully I'll make some more videos. If not, I will have some videos of my strongman competition as well as my USA Powerlifting American Open video. See ya.